Good morning, everybody.
Howdy.
Are you ready for some more annual meeting?
I suppose. This is painful.
I know.
Really, really painful. You know why? Because we have a working knowledge of the nonsense that comes out of Toni Morris's mouth.
Yep, but we watch the annual meeting and get just the clips so you don't have to. But, oh, he's right. It is painful, listening to this. And we've got the first clip here, but I just want to mention that, Watchtower all along has been blaming the Jehovah's Witnesses for the whole 1975 fiasco. You had the wrong idea. Watchtower never implanted this, and it's like, well, where do you think the JWs got it from? Why do you think that, my generation, our generation had this idea? They got it from Watchtower.
And you told me before we turned the camera on to calm down.
I ain't riled.
Jeez.
I ain't riled.
But it's really disturbing what these guys continue to think that they can get away with.
Yeah. But, there's so much in this clip we're about to play for you is like Aunt Mo is basically admitting that there was some long time, faithful Jehovah's Witnesses that believed this. And, tell his boys the same thing that we were told. You will not graduate in this system. And then he makes this big joke about it.
Yeah. So just listen and judge for yourself.
Yep.
So they'd listen, and they appreciated all these older ones, and we had a number of them in Rhode Island, longtime servants of Jehovah God. However, from time to time, this statement, and they'd be looking at my sons and, oh, you'll never graduate in this system. Not going to happen. So, I'm at their house, they just fed us. Lord help me, what am I going to do here? But this would come up from time to time, at least during those years, and maybe it was post-1975, I don't know. But they'd make these statements, and I'm going to give you a big confession because, this one comes clear to mind. Driving back from the gathering, Jesse and Paul are, thinking, and they're troubled. They're puzzled. What is this about? Why? Because, they had goals, and what are we going to do, and they're thinking of things in the future for them as growing in their love for Jehovah. Is that true, Dad? And so I'd say, look, let me tell you, these people saying these things were longtime servants, experienced people. If any of you are guilty, God loves you, He forgives you. If you did that back then, you didn't help anybody. But I'm going to give you a big confession. So that one particular night, we're driving back. It was a little distance from where we were, and they brought that up. They're sitting in the back seat, so we're having this conversation. And I told them, I said, look, you boys remember, you got to keep on the watch. This thing could go on and be ready for it to go to 2020. Honest. I mean, we're talking almost 40 years. Almost 40 years. I felt pretty safe with that. But you know what year this is. What are you going to do? But at least I'm happy to say they and my wife and their wives, we're all still keeping on the watch.
I know, very painful.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing we have been hearing our entire lives. They got to keep this, going.
And as we get to the next clips, I want you guys to think about how or what they're forced to acknowledge. And think about all the things that I've said in the past couple of years, maybe the past few months about my mother. Michael, I'm going to die and still be in this system of things. And it's really interesting how I just can't help but get the feeling if Toni Morris isn't reacting to everything that I've been saying on this channel about my mother and, losing, your
Well, I'm sure all
your
the
life.
older ones are feeling
They're-
that same way.
Yeah, exactly. But it's really sad. It's really, really sad to see how what they're having to be forced to admit, but yet at the same time, they make these people think that they've lived a good and fulfilled life because they've done it in Jehovah's organization. It's really sad that they keep their eyes closed to the reality that's before them, that you're going to die and still be in this system.
You think that's sad? The next clip is really sad.
I come from a long line of people who believed in keeping an expectation of the end. My mother died just last year, and she always felt that the end was close at hand. She just knew that she would live to see it, but she didn't. She had first learned the truth from her mother-in-law, my grandmother, an anointed Christian who often told me that she hoped to see the end come in her lifetime. She didn't. She had learned the truth from her mother, who died when I was a teenager, and firmly believed she would see the end in her lifetime. She didn't. And she, my great-grandmother, had learned the truth from her mother-in-law, who died long before I was born, and surely felt the same way about seeing the end. She didn't. And here I am now in my 7th decade of life, firmly believing that I will see the end very soon. So what does that mean? That I'm just another one in a long line of delusional people?
That was really sad because these older ones, like our moms, I thought I was going to get to see, the end. Well, what about us that were kids back in 1975 that were told that we weren't even going to finish, school? Well, like that faithful older brother told Aunt Mo's boys, and then he has to answer that, oh, well, even if it doesn't come till 2020, which really he uses that date.
Well, then jokingly said, well, we know what year it is. You guys not comprehend that they're making the audience laugh at them. That's what they're doing. They're making the audience laugh at them. Well, really, you're laughing at yourself because you can't escape the mind control.
Well, and then it says, do I feel delusional? No, because I've had a good life. Okay, well, he may feel that way, and that's fine. That's his feelings. But what about the rest of us that feel that we were deluded, that, they lied to us by telling us that we would not, even finish school in this system of things? Those people may think that, oh, well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if, all of these relatives thought they were at the end. And what I thought of when Aunt Mo was going through this spiel, and, I can't remember if it was this one or the other one, who says, and this pandemic proves, that we're in the time in the end. No, it doesn't, because the Bible students back in 1918, 1919, when that pandemic was going on in World War I, they thought it was going to go right into the Great Tribulation and Armageddon. They thought they were in the Great Tribulation. So, how do they feel? Do they feel deluded and lied to? See, and that's the thing, is Watchtower will not address people's feelings, especially, those of us that wake up and say, look, I was lied to. They won't acknowledge that. They won't apologize. They won't apologize to, these abuse survivors.
Well, just to go back and reiterate a point, You know, even though the new system didn't come, we didn't see Armageddon, you had a false expectation when the Berlin Wall fell. And when the Soviet Union was busted up. Oh, look, this is Jehovah's doing.
Peace and security.
Peace and security, the end's going to come. But, you know, it's really sad. And I'm going to put this in the context of my mother. Once again, because it fits. Michael, I'm going to die. And we're still going to be in this system. And she's going to listen to this. And she's going to give herself comfort based on, but I still lived a good life doing Jehovah's will. You know, friends, when I was younger, my mother was a guitar player. And I was amazed at her singing voice, because if you were to literally close your eyes and listen to my mother sing, you would swear to all that's holy you were listening to Patsy Cline. And we all know how famous Patsy Cline was. We all know. Who was that singer that came out with a song that was supposedly written for Patsy Cline? I think it was named Blue. I forget the whole thing, but you guys might remember what I'm trying to recall to mind. But the thing is how can you, Mom, compare your life to a good life compared to what? You could have had an opportunity to become a singer on the level of Patsy Cline. But you have a false comparison because you've got nothing to compare it to because you gave it up. Just like Sergei, I want to play in the conservatory. I want to be a violin player. And yet you could very well put Sergei in any one of these illustrations or any one of these experiences that they're reading. Look, I gave up my life as a well-renowned violin player, but I gave it up, but I still lived a good life. Compared to what? You've got nothing to compare it to. So you are arbitrarily making jokes, laughing at what Toni Morris is doing, and you do not comprehend the true significance because you don't compare it. I challenge my mother. I challenge her. You're going to die and still be in the system, but I lived a good life. Really, Mom? You watched your husband die. You watched both your kids leave Watchtower. You cannot put yourself in this context because in your mind, both of your boys are going to die at Armageddon. You're not going to see it coming, and you're going to swallow these experiences. But look, I still lived a good life compared to what? The only thing you know is going knocking on the door on Saturday mornings. That's you have no comparison. And I swear to all that's holy. And I've even told you this before, Mom. You sing with the same vocals that Patsy Cline did. But you didn't want to pursue it. Hell, I even learned to beat the drum so that you and I could be a group. But you wanted nothing to do with it. So you have nothing to compare your life with. You're going to die, still be in this system without any comparison of what the real life could have all been.
Well, how many of these older ones on their deathbed are going to actually say, oh, I'm so happy that I gave my life to Jehovah? Or are there going to be regrets? And that's the thing. Look at how many artists that Mike and I know, JWs, and they've given up, they'll doodle and do little paintings here and there. But I mean, they could be so much more. Oh, but I gave my life to Jehovah and I had a good life. Well, even though I could have become a famous artist,
Yeah, you've got nothing to compare it to. So all Toni Morris is doing is he's reading you experiences of people that have no comparison of what life is all about other than knocking at the doors on Saturday morning.
Now, let's be honest here. If these are friends of his and he asked them, to write up these little things, Do you really think they're going to be honest if they're feeling, this way I'm about to say and say, oh, I was deluded, we were, lied to? Do you really think they're going to say that? And do you think he would admit it? No.
No, well, this is all put in the same context as somebody sitting down and doing a video and having all of your friends say exactly what you think your audience wants. And that's all Tony Morris is doing. This mechanism is copied by a whole lot of people, and even some YouTube creators. They'll follow the same thing. I see the same thing when I go and watch gun channels. I see the same thing. Oh, look at me sitting down at a round table with so-and-so. Well, the creator of that content is not going to put his enemy across the table and have his enemy say, oh yes, you are the best shooter in the world. Yeah, everything you say about guns is 100% true. It's a facade, and Watchtower's doing the same thing, right?
Propaganda.
It's propaganda, for crying out loud. It's propaganda. That's all this is. And unfortunately, some ex-Jehovah's Witnesses have learned to manipulate it. Why? Because it's already in your mind. That propaganda button is already there, and Watchtower installed it.
They're good at installing those buttons,
Of course they are. And it takes a lot of intestinal fortitude to walk away from the entire complex of BS.
Yeah. I think we have one more clip.
She kept an expectation of the end, doing so year after year until she died. Now I'm approaching the age of my mother when she died. I've been keeping on the watch for over 50 years now. Am I bitter because the end has not yet come? No, not at all. How could I be? I've lived a full and satisfying life by living according to Jehovah's standards. Why would I want to live any other way? What has helped me to keep positive while waiting for the end to come? From time to time, I reflect on these few things, and here they are. My dedication is unconditional and unending. I did not dedicate myself to Jehovah on the condition that he brings the end within my lifetime, or even on the condition that he gives me a reward. I dedicated myself to him forever.
So here we have another experience of, I've lived a good life, and when I dedicated my life to Jehovah, it was forever. But if you make a contract with someone and they want to change that contract, then that makes the contract null and void. Mike and I were baptized in 1979, shortly after we got married together. We were baptized to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Well, then in 1985, they changed that. Mm-hmm. So, Watchtower changed that contract. And, some would say, oh, well, Jehovah didn't change your contract. Okay, well, then my contract is with God, the source of all, not with Watchtower, his spirit-directed organization, who now is taken the spirit-directed out of their contract, and now it's his organization, because I feel this organization has nothing to do with the source of all.
Well, see there again, guys, there's a lot of loaded language in that experience, and there again, why not? Because it's cut and edited to suit what they think the audience wants to hear, how great this organization is, even though it has a whole bunch of unfulfilled promises. But when he talks about being dedicated to Jehovah God, I comprehend that statement in a much, much, much deeper level than most people will actually even think about. Because our dedication in reality to this Jehovah God is based on the fact that when that Jehovah Witness came knocking, hey, have you heard the good news of the kingdom? Well, let me tell you the truth. And this is the mind-bending moment. Because when you start studying with Jehovah's Witnesses, you are convinced that you have found the true religion. It's the truth. In fact, we all know how it goes. You meet somebody at a district convention, you know, you sit beside somebody, hey, my name is so-and-so, and nice to meet you. How did you come into the truth? Or, oh, look, my boy got disfellowship because he left the truth. It's all the truth, the truth, the truth, the truth, and more of the truth. These Jehovah's Witnesses have got that word, one word, implanted in their mind. The truth. So when they mistakenly have these experiences read and saying, well, look, I dedicated my life to Jehovah. No. You dedicated your life to an organization that made you believe that everything coming out of their mouth was the truth. Until one day, somebody has the backbone to speak up and say, well, you know, I don't really believe that Jesus died on the stake. Wait, what? I believe Jesus actually died on a cross. What? Then you do the research, and then you see exactly what this organization did. You see that they took the words from the Imperial Bible Dictionary and did a very thought-provoking, carefully thought through ... They manufactured a lie. In your house that's built upon a lie will die. You don't have any dedication to God, Jehovah's Witnesses. You have a dedication to a false impression that you have the truth. But when you do the research, especially in the Imperial Bible Dictionary, it's a carefully contrived lie. That's why they have the ... And they were counting on getting away with it. They weren't even counting on there being YouTube so somebody can hold up the Imperial Bible Dictionary like I did and show the Jehovah's Witnesses exactly how that lie was manufactured. So if you guys really want to believe, Jehovah's Witnesses, that your life is dedicated to Almighty God, your life in reality has been dedicated to a lie.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I wrote down that date when we woke up and turned to each other and said, you know, we're going to get disfellowship for this. It was October 12th, 2012.
You know
so
why
2 days.
You know why we said that? You know why we said that, Kim?
Because we knew.
Because our hearts were already pure. Even though we swallowed decades of this crap, there was always something that coming out of these guys' mouth that never made sense. Why? Because I read my Bible. I read their literature. I understood that when that Berlin Wall came down, hey, look, there's no longer a king of the North. The king of the North is gone.
Peace and security.
Peace and security. And then a decade or so later, we're sitting at a district convention. This brother comes out on the stage and says, brothers and sisters, there's only one more prophecy left, and that's the cry of peace and security, and the system's going to end in like a whole arena full of seals. All the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Not us.
We sat in silence and said, that's not true because there's no definable king of the North yet. The lie was being destroyed once again.
It just took us a while to put the puzzle pieces together.
Well, because the problem is coming out of these guys' mouth, there's a lot of puzzle pieces to put together.
Well, I think if we would have seen GW broadcast when we were Jehovah's Witnesses and heard these guys, it would have woken us up.
That would have been the end of it for sure, because the more these guys manufacture their lies right here, really, I lived a good, faithful life. Compared to what? You don't know what it's like to be a singer on a stage and have the audience love your artistic creativity. You have no idea what it's like to go to a painter's show and display all of your wonderful paintings. No, 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 no. Because you've been relegated to doing all that painting in the new system once you're resurrected. Hey, Mom, what if the resurrection never's going to happen? And I can show it from the Bible. It's not going to happen. I can show it.
Well, I have another question. Okay, if that was these guys at Bethel, okay, they'd had all of their food and everything provided for them, insurance, so they haven't had to go out and earn a living. Those of us that had a family and had to work for a living, and it's been hard because when you're just a janitor, and we were always hurting for money all through our JW lives. We were hurting for money, and now we don't have a retirement to look for. We don't have a pension. We don't have a trust fund like Aunt Mo here.
Or his kids.
To rely on. Watchtower hasn't taken care of us. So, oh, I've led a good life. No, it's been a hard life. It's been a very hard life. And that is why we encouraged our daughter to go to college, so that she could provide for herself and make a good living, so she wouldn't have a hard life like us. So, they say, oh, well, I'm not bitter. Well, maybe a lot of us are bitter and angry because of the injustice and the hard lives we've had. Look at all of us abuse survivors. It was hard growing up a witness. Very hard. And, a lot of emotional baggage that all of us still deal with.
You have no truth, Tony Morris, Jehovah's Witnesses, if you have to manufacture a lie regarding the steros and the Roman word crux. You have a manufactured lie. That one little lie destroyed everything, destroyed the entire concept that I had in my mind about you and this organization.
Oh, I just thought of why we've had a hard life and why we're bitter and angry. Because we haven't had the means of self-medicating ourselves like Aunt Mo with the Jameson whiskey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
See, there you go. We're not alcoholics.
While he's out buying high-dollar alcohol whiskey, I got to buy the cheap bottom shelf crap. Yeah.
Well, when that's what you're used to, it's not that bad.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, look. Hey, Tony, I have an open invitation for you. Really, I have an open invitation for you. Come to New Mexico. I'll even give you 3 hots and a cot, but the requirement is you bring that high-dollar bottle of alcohol and let's compare it to the cheap crap that I drink, so that I have something to compare it to. What a bunch of crap comes out of these guys' mouth.
Yes.
But hey, Tony, please, take me up. 3 hots and a cot. Hell, I'll even wear a mask and go to the airport and pick you up. Oh, but wait a minute. We have another problem. It's called, how do I want to word this? It's called the inoculation theory.
Well, they have private jets, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, there you go. I guess it really doesn't matter. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
they have private jets.
Better yet, Mr. Morris, Mr. Governing Body, I live out in a rural part of New Mexico. I know that you can afford to rent a helicopter. So you fly in to Albuquerque Airport, you charter a helicopter, and I'll go 13 miles away and pick you up when that helicopter lands but hey, please don't forget that high-dollar bottle of whiskey, because I want to compare it to the cheap crap that I drink.
Yeah, it would be nice to have part of that good life they have.
Yes, it would be very much part of that good life. And look, just so that we understand each other, Tony, here's another qualifier. Besides the alcohol, don't come to my house empty-handed.
Good point.
Don't come to my house. You need to bear a gift beyond the alcohol, because see, the alcohol is just a challenge. That's all that is. That's just a challenge. So please don't come to my house not bearing a gift. You know, like you tell all Jehovah's Witnesses when you read that scripture, well, don't come to Jehovah's house empty-handed.
Well, heck, I'd be happy with some of the bling he's wearing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Why don't you accidentally leave behind that $20,000 Rolex? Or how about that $10,000 suit you're wearing?
Ugh.
How much does that little pocket kerchief cost you? $300-400? Do you Jehovah's Witnesses, do you not see that they're living the good life? They're having their reward now while they make you think you're going to have the reward in the new system. You know, the new system that never came, that generation after generation after generation of Jehovah's Witnesses died with failed expectations. Mom, I swear to God that your voice sounded just like Patsy Cline, and I told you that 100 times, but oh no, Mike, I gotta go out in service and serve Jehovah. I'll pursue my singing career in the new world. Everything is relegated to you Jehovah's Witnesses to the new system of things. And you're missing out on the life right now because you got Tony Morris making you search the scriptures. You're searching the scriptures day and night, thinking you can find eternal life, and yet your life in front of you is all being blown away with the wind.
Well, a good example of that is, look, because they were not encouraging you to have families, we had one kid. You know, don't want any more because the new system is coming.
About to end.
Oh, especially with, like he said, that Berlin Wall going down. It was about that time. You know, so this is the start of the, you know, peace and security and the Great Tribulation. And then, you know, our daughter grows up and gets married. Well, guess what? Oh, we're that much closer. And so her and my son-in-law chose not to have kids and took care of that permanently. So now we will never have grandkids in this system, you know, because they were still JWs when they got married and thought that we were that close to the end. So do you think my daughter and son-in-law are saying, oh, but we have a good life, even though, you know, we can't have kids now in this system of things. We've had a good life. You can see why a lot of us are angry and bitter.
One manufactured lie, Watchtower, and I've said it before when I did my video showing what you did about the cross and the steros. God cannot bless a lie. Oh, but wait a minute, I found some scriptures where God is blessing the lie. He allows an angel to be a deceptive spirit. Oh, so God is allowing you in your organization to be a deceptive spirit. I could do this all day long because I have the working knowledge.
So, Aunt Mo and your little audience, just go ahead and laugh about all of this. You know, it's a big joke. But it's not a big joke to those of us on this side because people are committing suicide and, you know, having a hard life. And we're all having to live without our JW family. So, you know, go ahead and laugh about it. It's no laughing matter to us.
That's right. It's not a joke to us.
So thank you so much, everybody, for watching. And we'll keep plugging along watching this horrific, evil annual meeting just to bring it to you. And, you know, we love you.
Bye.